and all of that. But let me say, the passion to manufacture didn't really start by it didn't start. I didn't start by with the thought of manufacturing. Um, I came across a book. My brother traveled and he came back into the country, and he brought this book with him, and he said he would like me to read. I said, "Oh, okay, let me see." Uh, the Ali Baba way, So I read the book back to back. I read like 3 times, and how Jack Ma got the vision of selling using the internet. So I became very much interested in selling on the internet, e-commerce. So, and if you remember well, I'm in Lagos now. I used to be in Abuja. I relocated to Lagos. So I started over there in Abuja gradually. But as the momentum kept growing, this nudge and my background in engineering, uh, informed me that I could do it better, and we could do it better. We could produce here in Nigeria. But for like 3 years, there was no production in Nigeria. We produced largely from
Okay.
uh, China, produced from Bangladesh, produced from India. But so that's been the journey that, okay, instead of producing over there, we can as well produce here. And like I told you, my background in chemical engineering informed me of some. I looked at the nation. Nigeria is richly blessed with crude oil and all of that. We export our crude oil to be refined. We bring in the finished products. So I looked at how that applied to me as a business person. That what am I doing like my country? When you produce crude oil here and you export it to be refined and to be brought back into the country, you create more jobs there outside wherever you are refining from.
Okay.
You create more jobs, you create more opportunities. And I looked at it, I looked inwards, excuse me. I looked inward and like, okay, so why am I different from Nigeria with all the potentials to produce here in Nigeria? So we looked inward and we decided to, okay, let's produce our shoes here, let's produce our clothes here. And thankfully, we've started. So let me stop there for now.
Thank you so much for that. So I'm going to go over to you. You're an hairstylist, and from what I read, I saw that you started when you were very young, and you started from doing it like in your garage, and it was more like a side inspiration to a lot of people over the world. Could you just tell us how you were able to grow that from being a side hustle or something that was just your passion to becoming something that is profitable and impactful?
I think it begins with understanding what your purpose is and where it is that you're trying to go. For me, I always knew that I wanted to be a hairstylist, and it was something that I was always passionate about. Therefore, it was easy for me to make the transition. It started off as a passion for the sake of my parents, but I knew it was something that I wanted to pursue. So I think it was really just trusting myself, trusting my passion, and have an understanding of what it is that I wanted to do, that I was able to translate something that started off as a hobby into a profession. Um, I think like many of us share, many of us already know, when you are passionate about something, it's easy for you to put in your all and give it your all. And when you operate from a place of abundance, it's easy for things to come into light, and it's easy for things to come into fruition in a way that you imagined and beyond. So for me, I think it was really just understanding what I wanted to do and then taking it to the next level and taking it seriously and continuing education and diving deeper into it and really understanding the business.
Wow. So, Dimeji, from what I know about you, you are passionate about football. I remember somebody said that
Mm,
he, you went on a race and you did not stop that race until you had finished. And because the person wanted to win his own race as an athlete, he decided to follow you to a training, but he couldn't keep up with you because you trained all the way. And from what I've seen about you, I have seen that your passion for football has provided you with opportunities in the corporate industry. How did you how did it all start and how did you bring it this far?
yes, thank you, Clementina. It all started way back from primary school. You know, those days when you get to go on break and you have to play football with your colleagues, you have to run. Then we don't really I didn't really take it serious. So it's just there. We just do it for the fun of it. But later on, I I I had this encounter with a coach when I was very, very young, and he told me that I can actually be whatever I want to be if I put my mind to it. I loved football from since when I was a kid, since way back. So I love how the sport is, how the training goes, and all those things. So let me move forward to when it all actually started. So when I was in university, I had the opportunity to play for the school team. So afterwards, I had the opportunity to aid some group of people. I had the opportunity to be the team coach of my church team, then campus church, when I was in school. So I actually leveraged on those times when I had these opportunities to lead and to become a better person as a footballer and an athlete. So I usually do a lot of trainings. I have the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo as my mentor. Really, I love the way he trains. I love how he plays also. So afterwards, I was able to go for NYC after school, served, and one thing happened when I was in camp. And I served I did my 3 weeks at Akwa Ibom. So later on, I was actually redeployed to Abuja. So before I was redeployed, we used to play these interplatoon games, at the camp. So we before we started, you know, doing all these our parades, the teacher would come like, okay, guys, we need a football team. Each platoon has their own soldiers that organize things there. So we're like, okay, we need a football team and we need to train. So I attended the training once. I didn't even touch the ball more than
Okay.
maybe 3, 4 times. So I got into the team. I was the assistant captain then. Then we used to have also we used to also have an head coach at Camden. He used to be the head coach of all the zones around Akwa Ibom axis. That's Akwa Ibom, I think Calabar, and all those axes. So he used to head all those axes. So it was like, this guy, you can play now. I can actually refer you to the national team. Then NYC has a national team, a football national team at Abuja. So it was like, you can actually play football to the highest level. I was like me, I
Okay.
just do it for fun and for the passion of it. It's like, okay, I'll send you somewhere, I'll send your name somewhere. And so that was how it all started. I was able to play. Then I was redeployed from Akwa Ibom to join the NYC national team at Abuja, which I actually played for a year. So afterwards, now we are here in First Bank. I actually currently play for First Bank national team. So that's where we are
Okay.
now. Yeah. Thank you, Clementina.
Amazing. Such a beautiful story there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Solomon, from what I've seen about you, you're the founder of Boys Quarters Africa, and where it really got inspiring is the fact that at the time you started that particular organization, you were in a very beautiful employment. So, as a young person, you had what a young person would be looking for to, like, let me go to school, maybe get a job, and let me just be fine. But you took out time out of the good life, let me use that word, and you decided to do something for other people. Was it just passion? How did it start? How did you come to that decision? Do you understand? Because a lot of people desire, but you took action with your decision. How did you come to that place of deciding and attracting the type of team members you've attracted? Because one of the things I've seen about you is the quality of the team members you have is just mind blowing. How did you come that far?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Bushara.
Yes, we
Can you
can.
hear me clearly? Oh,
Yes, I
awesome.
can.
So, first of all, I mean, I have a personal ideology, and it's around the discovery of purpose. A lot of time we try to look for purpose. Meanwhile, I believe purpose is not something we should look for. It's something, you know, that it's already within us that we need to probably unearth. So I grew up with four brothers, right? And I saw some of the things my parents went through raising the five of us, right? I mean, I saw how young boys can be exposed to different vices and all of that. But it really didn't occur to me until at some point in my life I began to write. I began to, when I had some leadership position while in the university, I had opportunities to speak, and I realized that when it comes to issues around gender, around inequality, around equity, around the girl child, around the boy child, I mean, it does something to me, right? So I remember in 2015, I went to Babcock University for their convocation, and while the governor of Ogun State, the then governor of Ogun State, was presenting the gift to the graduates, then so I mean, first class in this was a girl, first class in that was a girl, first class in this other one. So the man, out of frustration, just said, "Where are the boys? What is the problem with our boys? They just
Mm-hmm.
want to while away their time, dance and all of that." I
Okay.
mean, so because I'm a believer, I believe the Holy Spirit indwells in me, right? So at that point, the Holy Spirit told me, "This is what I've sent you to do. This is your assignment." So I mean, my thought wasn't to start a non-for-profit. I wasn't going to start an organization. I just wanted to be a channel where we can encourage boys, because I'm one of those who believe that 99.9% of the biases against women and girls are perpetrated by men. And I also believe that boys are not men. Boys are children, and boys shouldn't be caught in the crossfire
Okay.
of the feminism and anti-feminism banter. We should be able to raise, if we really desire a good future, we shouldn't complain about boys and men. We can fight men, but we should build our boys, right? So 2018 December, I was at the Special
Okay.
Correctional Center for Boys in Oregon Ikeja, and I mean, that was how basically started. Then, right, and just as I'm sorry, I can't see a name clearly. First lady
ENS.
that spoke,
That's
she
her
was
name.
of the opinion. Okay, and yes, exactly. She said that when you're in the space of purpose, provisions come, right? So all of the things we have enjoyed are things from our circle. So when I mean circle, from people who see what we do, people who love what we're doing, people who are passionate about what we're talking about. And in about 2 years, we've engaged over 5,000 boys, and about 127 volunteers across different cities in Africa. And the truth is, a large chunk of the job is. So I would usually tell people that out of the 5,000 boys, I've spoken to less than 200 boys. But we have people who are dedicated to the vision. And so to the question of how I'm able to attract that kind of team, I think it's just about clarity of purpose. The moment you're able to tell people where you are headed, it is easier for them to follow you. We're in a generation where everybody's, immersed in doing something. We do things because to just be engaged, doing nothing. You just want to be engaged, making sure that you're ticking a box. But for me, I'll usually communicate to the guys that this is where we are headed. This is the problem we want to solve. This problem is beyond us. It's going to outlive us. The solution is going to outlive us. But we have a chance to solve a problem in our hands, right? And it has really helped. And I mean, working in a bank with the quantum of work to be done. It's just about the quality of the team members that I have. Yeah, so I think it's about clarity of purpose and communicating it appropriately. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. So, from what I can hear from everybody, I heard P. Dave say that he read a book that changed his life. I heard Yene say that understanding your purpose, and Solomon, you made reference to that, like knowing that this is what you're called to do and moving it from just a wish to something that is profitable and can bless others. And I hear you in what you said, Dimeji. What I can just hear is a man's gift makes way for him. So even if you have a gift, you have to be disciplined and you have to show up so that people that would eventually help you can see you and project you to where you're supposed to be. And that will bring me to a very important word, which is strategy. When you look online today, you have a lot of um you have a lot of words to accompany strategy. So I'll give an example. You have business strategies, you have personal branding strategy, you have work-life balance strategy, and everywhere is strategy. In my journey as an entrepreneur and as somebody that has also worked in the corporate environment, I realized that you need to have a plan. So I would want you to describe to somebody that is starting out or needs to scale, how how do you move from having a passion to making it profitable? How do you do that? Like what is the strategy you adopt to make sure that what you have in your hands does not die? Let me start with you, Pastor Dave. Hey Dave, can you hear me?
I think it is network. I can hear you clearly.
Okay, Solomon, could you take that first, then we'll come back to P Dave much later.
Okay, so just to rephrase your question, you're saying how to translate strategic ideas into something profitable and can influence lives, right? Is that what you're saying, Busayo?
Yes, like how to move your passion to profit. What strategies,
Okay,
moving your passion to profit, what strategies did you deploy or should one deploy to do
okay,
that?
okay. Thank you. So, first of all, for me, um, just a second. Yeah, first of all, for me, I need to communicate that it's important we all know, for those who are listening to us, that passion is never enough. right? That you're passionate
Okay.
about something doesn't mean it will
Passion.
make sense. Yeah, passion
Okay.
is
Passion
never
is
enough.
never.
In fact,
Okay.
the truth is everybody is passionate about something, you know. But what we distinguish the passionate from the passionate guys who are successful and the passionate guys who are not, you know, there are a couple of things. For me, there are about three or four things. Number one is you need to do three things, and it's just one point. You need to learn, you need to unlearn, and you need to relearn. Right. So when I say learn, you know, it's important
Okay.
you realize that um, we are in a knowledge economy. We are in a stage in the world where you don't just come. People don't accept you because you have what you have. People accept you because you have value you want to add. Right. So it's important
Okay.
that before you can delve into that space, you need to learn. You need to do some research. You need to find out about some things you don't know, right? Start learning. Then even relearning, there are some things you know before that you probably need to relook again. You need to, you know, go back again and relearn them. You know, it's as simple as, I mean, so as small as boys quarters is, we have weekly meetings on Saturdays. We take action items, they send out action items. I ensure there are documentation for everything we do. For our finance, we ensure that there are documentation. We have we have an accounting software we use. You know, for a very small organization like ours, I mean, you know, all of our funds and reception is not even up to $5,000. But I mean, even with as small as we are, we try to ensure that we keep everything intact. And the reason why I'm saying this, I'm citing this example, is because I had to learn some of these things again. You know, despite the fact that I have the corporate understanding, I've been in the bank for about 5 years. I understand the way the corporate world works, right? So I had to learn this thing again. I mean, the knowledge you have as the knowledge you have as a deputy chief executive cannot sustain you when you become the chief executive. So as you grow, as you take bigger steps, you need to learn new things. The things you think you know before, you need to relearn them. And finally, you need to unlearn some things. So, I mean, there are some ideologies you need to, right, step aside. You know, there are, so for example, as an entrepreneur, you want to start a business and works to me, I got my own back. Then you're ready for business. You're actually ready for business. I mean, if you're someone who is so interested in giving back a respect, if you're not enough, then you're not ready for business. So I mean, so first of all, there should be some sort of mental progression when you want to translate
Sorry.
what
The
you
net
have in your head into something. You are going to say something, Besiah.
the network was cutting
Hello.
you off, but you're better off now. So please continue.
Okay. Okay. So I
Hello.
was saying that there
The
should be some
network was
sort of.
cutting
I
you
can
off.
I can hear you
You're
clearly.
fine now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I was saying that there should be some sort of mental progression, right? If you want to translate the idea in your art into something tangible, right? So, I mean, apart from what I've said, there are a couple of things I can say off my head. You need to learn how to collaborate. You know, you need to learn how to. So some people believe that yes, I cannot depend on people. You need to learn how to depend on people, right? You need to leverage on your social capital. You know, the first evangelist for whatever idea you have is your immediate community, your tribe. So the question will be that, do you have a
Oh,
tribe? You know, so when we had our very first campaign at Boy Scholars Africa in 2018, you know, the number of people that came were people from the university I graduated from and the fellowship where I led at some point. I mean, they were all familiar faces. So when I saw what I wanted to do, I reached out to a couple of them. You know, at some point I needed to tell some people not to come because I realized that if I had opened the door for everyone, you know, we're going to flood that place up. So you need to learn how to collaborate if you want to translate the idea in your art, you know, into something profitable. And I mean, and finally, I'd said that before, and I'm going to say it again. You need to sort of get the requisite knowledge, you know, get requisite knowledge. So I mean, every month I sort of have a goal, a personal development goal. Apart from the fact that I read a book or two every month, um, there's a part of the Bible I read every month. Apart from that, I ensure that I either take a course, as it relates to development, non-for-profit, philanthropy, right? And there are a lot of people I stalk online. So when I say stalk, I mean I follow them with the whole of my heart, the likes of the indies with the whole of my heart, because I've realized that if I really want to get to where I want to go to quickly, then I need to align what I see and what I hear. I need to make my future align with what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. So as much as possible, I sort of get myself attached to guys who are already doing what I want to do well, right? So with that, I mean, the speedy progress we have made, the speedy progress we have made, as it's just a product of some of the things I'd listed down.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Like I remember Yana said it earlier that even though she knew that this was something she was passionate about, she decided to take an education in that which she wanted to do. And you also emphasize that people are already doing what you want to do, and start with the people who already know who you are. Thank you for that, Solomon. I would like to bring it to you, Yene. I know that you already spoke about education, but how did you move from being the hairstylist in your own home to being the global hairstylist that people know you to be today? What strategy did you deploy to climb that ladder?
There wasn't any special strategy. I think for me, again, as I said, it's about, I think everybody thinks that the road to success comes overnight. And the reality is that there's a lot of hard work, right? It went from me starting doing hair at 16, me doing hair probably at like 13, to going to hair school at 16, to working in my first salon at 18, to relocating to the DC metropolitan area at 21, to opening my own salon at 29. There was a lot of time, there was a lot of work, and there was a lot of patience that goes into it. So I think for me,
Wow.
the biggest thing I could say when it comes to strategy is to have patience and persistence.
Oh, patience and persistence. Wow. I listened to one of your videos, and I remembered you said that you do not support you cater to natural hairstyling, and you don't believe in the use of hair. And what that did to me is that it reminded me of the fact that sometimes when we start, we have our convictions about what we want and what we don't want. But because of the demand of the market, maybe the type of customers you have, they come to say, oh, this is what I want and this is what I expect you to do. I want you to speak to the fact that how do you sustain your value in an environment that wants you to cave in, especially when you need the money? Because one of the things that plagues this generation is compromise. So even if I don't know how to do something or that is not what I'm good at, I don't want to say no because I don't want to lose the money. How would you speak to that? What do you think helps a young person, an entrepreneur, or a professional to maintain their value in either business, workspace, or even when it comes to their personal goals and development?
I think I think it's extremely important for you to recognize what your values are and your ethics, right? I think so many people think that they could just there's this mentality that they have to do everything, like you said. And so I always say, not all money is good money. If it doesn't align with your brand, if it doesn't align with your vision, if it doesn't align with who you
Sorry, I
are,
do not get that.
what part?
Okay.
If if it doesn't align with who you are, if it doesn't align with what you're trying to do, then you shouldn't do it, because you have to think of the bigger picture and the long-term goal. If you're thinking short-term, if you're thinking temporary, if you're thinking in the now, then yes, you'll take every opportunity that comes your way, but that's going to eventually hinder you. You have to think about, is this aligned with who I am, what my brand stands for, and what I want to grow into? Because things that you have done in the beginning could hinder you and block other goals that you're trying to reach, the bigger picture.
Wow, thank you. So, if I heard you correctly, think in the long term. And when you think in the long term, it would help you know why you are doing what you're doing today. Wow, thank you so much. So, Dimeji, let me come to you. You just mentioned on
Okay.
this call that somebody spotted you, and the person said, "Oh, you are good." And I know that you train a lot. That I can attest to. I've seen a lot of your videos where you train, even when you're on recess, you are training. And I remember that you said
Hello, Clemmy. Hello.
to me one time that
Hello.
it's so bad. The network wants to deal us several blows today. Even though when we rehearsed this was the network was fine, but I know we'll be all right. Hello there. If you're with me, say hello. Mhm. Hey, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Dimeji, can you hear me, please? Sincere apologies to our live viewers, and if you're seeing the replay, we sincerely apologize. Everything was well, but I know that sometimes when you need to get the gold, you need to keep digging. So, Dimeji, if you can hear me, please let me know that you can hear me.
Hello, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. So, I was asking, how
Yes.
did you sustain your discipline as an athlete, as a footballer, to get to where you are today? And I was also going to ask that, in case, for example, one of the reasons I know that you are very committed on your job is because you have an opportunity to live out your passion, which is football. So I'm going to add the question that, if what you are pursuing as a career would not allow you pursue football, will you still follow that career? I don't if you understand my question. The first question is, how do you discipline as a football and a fitness person? And if you are in a career, or if you have a
Yes.
career that does not support your passion, will you continue that career?
Okay, let me take the second question first. If I am into that does not or that won't allow me do my stuff, I think I will say no to that. I won't be able to continue with or continue in that line because it's gonna look like I've been changed. That's how it looks. That's how I see it. If you don't allow someone express himself or herself, it looks like as if that person is changed. That person is tied. So the person definitely won't be free to do his or her thing, to express himself or herself. So I believe in expressing oneself through passion. Once you have passion for something, you can express it.
We can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you now. Please continue.
Oh, okay, okay. So, Clem, I will need you to repeat the first question.
So my first question is that how do you maintain your discipline? Because I know that your goal is to practice more than see Ronaldo
Okay,
so that you can be better. And I remember, is it last year or this year? One of your goals was to finish in the top
okay.
20 for Access Bank Marathon race. So how do you maintain such a discipline? Is it that you have to put yourself in water when you want to sleep so that you don't sleep all the night, or you have an alarm that wakes you up? What do you do to maintain such a disciplined life?
Okay, this is how it is. Firstly, when you have a target, when you really set a target and you want to attain, you do everything to achieve that. So basically, what I do is I set the target and I watch out for stuff that can pull me back.
Okay.
So once I set a target, I pinpoint what I'm supposed to do and what I'm not supposed to do as at that time. So okay, I talk to myself, okay, guy, you have a game. For example, I have a match, maybe probably next week. I have a match next week, and basically I'm supposed to train. So during the week, there are some period I'm supposed to train heavy, and there are some period I'm supposed to train light. So I know what to do at the right time. You need to know what you have to what you want to do. I watch what I eat also because I know okay, I'm going for a game. I don't have to be heavy and I don't have to be too light. So everything still boils down to self-engagement. I talk to myself once in a while. I talk to people around that okay, how do you see this? How do you see this? How do you see that? So once I've been able to set my target, then I go for it. I go for whatever I want to do. I go for whatever I want to take. Because most times when you look at some factors, mostly or most times rather, so many factors won't let you meet what you want to meet because that's when you see your maybe mom invite you over for one delicious meal that you won't want to say no, and you have to keep fit, and you are not supposed to eat that kind of food. So it all boils down to self-engagement and determination, you know. So once you set a target and there's no one that can stop anyone, really. So there are so many factors that can actually bring one down. For example, like the one I just said, and also looking at the background and the friends you have. You know, I live in Mushi. I was born and bred in Mushi, and I
But
attended
you don't
Olabisi
look it. You
Onabanjo
don't.
University. So the combination of the two, really, when yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It
Ah,
depends on how you
okay.
bring up yourself,
Oh,
how
so
you
that
want
means,
what you want for yourself.
so
Yes.
if I
So that's how
understand
I've been
you
able
the
to
way
conquer that.
you are saying that you have to rebrand
I mean, Chukwe,
yourself for the future you want.
yes, yes, yes. And that actually took me a whole lot of time to get myself together because so many things would actually want to pull one back. So many things would actually want to pull me back. Looking at the environment, looking at the school, when you tell someone that you live in Mushin, they look at you like, come on, man, who is this? You tell someone that you live in Mushin and you attend Olabisi Onabanjo University and you are like this, like you're like me. They want to like, come on, guy, how did you do it? So really, it takes a lot of determination and self-engagement to actually attain all of these things.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you so, so much. So I have a question here from Facebook. The person wants to know that it's just asking, I don't know the specific area. The person is asking to know, how do I find mentorship? So everybody should please speak to that. We can start with you, Dave. The person wants to know how he can find mentorship, how he can find a mentor.
Okay. Thank you. I think it's not far-fetched. It's not something difficult. Uh, one thing is that you have to be sure of what exactly or what area of life you want to get mentorship on. Um, is it, do you have a factory, for instance? Do you run, uh, do you produce? What do you produce? Or are you an athlete? Know what exactly you want. That's number one. Number two is, who are the people in that of interest? Can you identify one, two, three persons in that field of interest? And for instance, if you're an athlete or a footballer, it might, and you live in Nigeria, you're in Lagos, it might be difficult for you to access Ronaldo, to access Messi. But there are people like Oladimeji here in Nigeria,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
so he's much closer to you. Approach him, oh, sir, or ma, I have seen that you've been in this for a while. Uh, you look like what you're doing now is what I ought to be doing. And I want to get to this spot or, you know, even move further. So approach the person and say, okay, I need mentorship. If the person has the time, I bet you would say yes. And if the number one person on your list does not have your time, move to number two person. Approach the person. If they,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that they will definitely give you a yes. But the thing is, be sure of what you want to get mentorship on. So that at the end of the day, you can track what you've been able to garner from that particular person. Um, I think that's uh, that for me. I have a producer apparel here. Before starting out, I had to meet with friends in industry, people who have been in the industry for donkey years. So I was very specific about, and I was very specific even till now. I'm still very specific with the kind of questions I ask them. Maybe there's a machine I don't quite understand. I ask, please clearly explain how does it operate? okay, we want to do this production. What are your suggestions and all of that? So, be very specific so that by the time you are given the opportunity, you maximize that opportunity you have been provided or you have been presented. So, those are my thoughts.
Okay, if I heard you ask questions that are related to the area you want to pursue, either a career or a business, and if I heard that correctly, and I think that is very, very important for people out there listening to know to ask the right questions. Solomon, how would you answer the person that is asking to know how he can find a mentor or how he can find mentorship?
Okay, so I mean, I might have a different, quite a different perspective to it. So I don't think mentorship is about having telephone conversation with someone you admire. So the question is, do they have books that you can read? Right? Mentorship doesn't have to be active. A lot of
Mm,
people who claim they want mentorship just wants to chase cloud. There are a lot of people I look up to, and before you can approach those kind of people to say mentor me, how many of your books have you read? How many of their messages have you bought online? How many of their stores have you downloaded on YouTube? So I don't think mentorship is about it's about directly having a conversation with anyone. I mean, so that's it from me. Then number two, um mentorship is not like someone will teach you what to do, right? So if you want to be mentored, you need to set your life in motion. You need to sort of, in a way, you know the
mm.
what's the right way to explain it now? The only way you can explain desire is pursuit, right? If you really desire something, you will pursue it. So people need to realize that their mentors don't need them. So if you want someone to mentor you, and you send the person a DM once, and the person didn't respond to you in 2 weeks, you need to realize that the person doesn't need you. You need the person. So the only way you can express your desire is through pursuit. You need to keep pushing at it. I have a mentor who, if I send her a message today, she might not respond until like 2 weeks after. And when she responds like she's responding to me immediately, like, "Hey, Solomon, I'm sorry, I'm just seeing this message, blah blah." I mean, and I understand because I know she's busy and I'm busy too. There are people who send me messages that I don't get to respond until like 3 or 4 days after. So it is not because it's intentional. I know. I mean, there are a lot of things on our plate we're trying to get done, right? So I think those two things. If you admire someone, read their books. For example, I admire Ryan Holiday, the writer of Ego is the Enemy. And what I've done is I know he has written about 5 books. Out of the 5 books, I've read 4, right? So if peradventure I have, maybe by luck or something, I have to talk to him, the depth of our conversation will be different. I will not ask him questions he already preferred answer in his books. I will ask him something deeper. I will ask him something more profound. Ask him something beyond. Yeah. So that's basically my thoughts around mentorship and finding one.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So, what I hear you say is that when you want some people in your space, go find their resource and devour it. If it's books, read. If they are preaching somewhere, go there and attend. If they are going to be speaking online, buy data and join on YouTube or Facebook and anywhere you can find them apart from talking to them physically. Make sure you have soak yourself in whatever materials they have that can help you. And I hope somebody out there that is listening to this is going to take action from now. Jimeji, how will you speak to finding a mentor or mentorship? Dimeji, can you hear me?
I think he's on mute. I can hear you clearly, but I don't know if he can hear you.
Okay. So when we have him, then he's going to speak to that. And I want to move to the last word in this particular topic for the Usherpreneur Summit is new beginning. And that word came to me because a lot of we get like where we are really stuck. And when I mean stuck, it means one is stuck. Like you have tried everything you know and you are not just able to move forward. I want to start with you, Solomon. How do you think somebody can move away from being stuck? Like, how can you scale after you have done the starting part? So, I've read this person's book, I have implemented what I've heard, and or I'm in a job and I know that I've delivered well on this job, but I can be better. How do I move forward?
Yeah. So I mean, this is a caveat. This is a personal thought, right? So at every point in time, I learned this from my former line manager. So anytime he comes in on a Monday morning, the first thing he will say is, Solomon, I had a reflection over the weekend, and I think we should do things differently, and we should do it this way. I mean, I worked with him for about 3 years, and he said these things consistently. And for me, it has helped shape my um, the way I see leadership, right? The way I see leadership, the way I see service. So the first thing we should do, or the person should do, is to reflect. I mean, it's a very, 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 very difficult thing to do in our generation. You know, I was sharing with someone recently. I said the people that will make it in our generation in the coming years are public listeners, not public speakers, because our generation is filled with people that can talk. So the few people that can listen will make money from people that can talk, because the level of problems we're going to have in our generation will require those who can listen to you talk and not those who will talk at you, right?
Mhm.
So if you can do a reflection, I mean, if things are not working well, it is only madness to do the same thing the same way and expect a different results. It's important for you to reflect, think through it. What can I do differently? You know, where are the mistakes I made? Um, there's a personal ideology I use for myself and some of my friends, and I call it objective loyalty. So objective loyalty means that I'm loyal to you, but I'm very objective. I know people say that loyalty cannot be objective. I can be very loyal with objectivity. You know, you can be very objective with loyalty rather. So what does it mean? You know, being able to tell yourself the truth the way it is, the places you're failing. You know, just 2 weeks ago, I told my team at Boys Quarters, I said, you know, we cannot allow ourselves to keep being operational. We need to do something differently. We need to look for ways to recalibrate the works we're doing so that we can scale up. And we did a review. We listed the things we were doing wrongly. We did a problem statement. We said these were the mistakes we were making. Then we began to strategize on what we can do differently, right? New beginnings will not come if you don't have a reflection. Just like the good book said, you cannot pour a new wine in an old wine skin. You know, the skin will burst out. So the thing is, it's not like God is not even sending us new ideas. It's not like new things are not happening around us. But the problem is we ourselves, we're not receptive to receive the new ideas because our minds are still immersed in the old ways. And the way you can get off the old ways is by being objective with yourself. Do a personal internal audit. So it will lead me to the next point, and it's connected with the first point. Is at what point do you do your internal audit? So when you say internal audit, it means that doing an audit of your life, checking what have I done the last 1 month. Today is the 1st of August, right? So before I stood up from my bed, sorry, I didn't sleep on the bed this night. Last night I slept on the floor in my sitting room before before I stood up from the floor this morning, right? I realized it was the 1st of August. What I did was to do like a scanning of July 2020. What were the things I did wrongly? How many books did I write? How did I develop myself? Am I making progress? Have I done things differently?
Wow.
Can I do things in a better way? Right? So that, I mean, if you keep living your life like a train, you just end up at one point you don't want. Your life will be directed by people who are not part of it. But if you're being deliberate with your life, doing a check, right? So one of the things I did this morning was there was an idea I shared with a friend about having like a boot camp for young men. And I realized that after I was talking about it for like 2 weeks ago, I didn't talk about it. I didn't do anything. When I was doing my review this morning of my life in July 2020, I told myself that, guy, you need to pick this thing up. So while we're talking on the phone, I quickly got my notebook, and I started jotting them down. Right. So all of the ideas I had in my head, I started jotting them down. And once I'm done with this call, I want to start reaching out to some of my friends who are going to be on the faculty. So it's important for us to do a reflection, do an internal audit of your life. Do you understand? So that what you're expecting, where you're expecting to get to, the things you are doing now doesn't eventually stop you. And on a final note, right? On a final note, I mean, I don't know if this will be the final words from me on this platform. The truth is, the only thing that can stop you is you. That's the truth. I mean, this is not me trying to sound motivational. I'm not. So I tell people that I'm not emotionally and matured enough to be a motivational speaker, because sometimes I can be very erratic. All right. The truth is, a lot of time we deny the truth. We try to push the responsibility on everybody and everyone. Right. If you want to have a new beginning, if you want to move from where you are, right, to where you want to get to, it's actually in your hand. My father would usually say something that man is the architect of his own fortune. The fact that you're not where you want to go to does not mean you are not making progress. You are making progress. Where the problem is because you're not where you want to get to, you stop doing what to get you there, right? So what you should be doing is, even when you're not seeing it, keep
Hmm.
learning. I mean, in my head by now, I thought that boys quarters were going to be doing something major, doing something differently, would have gotten some kind of grant, but we're not there yet. So the moment I know we're not there yet, I keep making progress, I keep developing myself, I keep building my team, so that I can shift the vision we have. Then I make the vision bigger because I know that I'm preparing the more, I'm putting more effort, right? So we must learn in our generation to take responsibility for our lives, right? And the truth is, it is not like anybody has a perfect life. All of us on this call that you have invited to come and speak, not like anything is good with us. I mean, so when I say anything is good, not like everything is perfect. We have one thing or the other we're working on. We have something we are struggling with. We have a problem we're trying to solve. We have an issue we're trying to resolve. We are all a work in progress. So don't put your life under pressure. Don't put yourself under pressure. If you cannot afford a car now, calm down. Even if you're 32, you will buy a car. A car will come. If you don't have a house of your own, calm down. You will get a house of your own. Just ensure that you
Calm
keep
down.
making daily progress. So I'm going to actually release my book in October. 1st of October, titled "Work in Progress." Right? It's going
Woo!
to chronicle. I mean, it's going to unpack the lies about perfection. Nobody has a perfect life. Even the biggest man you look up to, those people you say you want to be like, wants to be like you. The people you want to be like wants your peace of mind. The people you are looking up to, they are looking up to the kind of beautiful life you have. So, I mean, we are all work in progress. And I mean, once we keep making
Wow.
progress, you keep making daily progress, I'm sure we're going to get there someday.
Thank you so much. I remember that a boss of yours wrote on LinkedIn and said that perfection is a myth. However, if we set our mind to perfection, then we may attain excellence. And that word just changed my mind. Like, that is true. If you set yourself to a very high standard, then it means that you are well on your way to presenting something that is a masterpiece. Thank you so much for that, Solomon. Dimeji, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm here. Can hear you.
Please, could you give us your words as it relates to new beginning? How can I make a move to begin anew? Some people feel that, oh, time has gone, I've lost opportunities, I don't even know what to do, I'm stuck. How can I have a new beginning?
Okay. Basically, a new beginning. All we definitely start from your inside. We start from where you were and what you want to achieve. So basically, what you need to do as a person is you look back to where you are coming from, then you look,
Okay.
you try to understand some basic things like the setbacks, what has pulled you back, and what you have done right and what you have done wrong from where you are coming back or from where you are coming from. So at the point where you are, there's always a bigger picture in everybody's head. Basically, normally, we are supposed to think ahead. Rationally, we are supposed to think ahead. So there's always a bigger picture in one's head. So you have this bigger picture in your head, and that is where you want to be. Automatically, that is your new beginning. That is your new finding. That is where you want to be. That's what you want to do. So looking back to where you are coming from, learning from your mistakes, from there you can actually move ahead from where you are. So basically, you just have to work on the mistakes, work on people around you. Like I said previously, set the goals, set some targets for yourself. This is a new month, and I believe that each and every one of us should have a target for the month. We have a target for the year. We have a goal for the year as it is. So that's all I have to say about that. And also, I think I
Thank
missed
you
I missed your
so
question
much.
about mentorship. So I'll just see
Yes.
one or two things about. Yeah, I think I missed that. So I just see one or two things about that. David and Solomon actually said the basic parts of it, like getting you for someone to know what you want to do and look for people that are already ahead of you in that line. So I'll just give a very simple example. When I was talking previously, when I introduced myself, I said Cristiano Ronaldo is my mentor. Okay, why did I say that? I don't really have access to Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't chat with him. We don't talk over the phone. But why did I say that he's my mentor? Now, I've actually studied the kind of person he is, and I watch his games, I watch his clips, I watch when he trains. So, how much are we willing to sacrifice? How much time are we willing to sacrifice for all those things? I actually sacrificed a lot to watch him, to understand the kind of person he is, his background. I can even say that his background and mine are actually close because he had a poor family, and like he actually started from there, and look at where he is today. So you have to look at those things that this person, might not have the time to talk with the person or chat the person, might just be seeing the person maybe on TV or something, like, okay, this guy, I want this guy to be my mentor. So what do you need to do? You have to follow this person up, check what he does. Not that maybe he drops a picture on Instagram and you are just there to comment, I like this, keep it up. No, that's not mentorship. You just have to look through and study this person,
Mm,
study his lifestyle. For example, I was at a game, I played a match. I went to that team for the first time, and someone walked up to me and said, Dimeji, you play like Van Dyke. I don't know. Clementine, I don't know Van Dyke, but I'm sure David knows Van
I
Dyke.
do.
He's a
I
Liverpool player.
actually, I,
Okay,
I
no Van Dyke.
actually do.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. So the guy walked up and said, you play like Van Dyke. Why? Because I've seen these guys, my line, footballing and football and athletics. You have to learn from what you see and from what you do. So when you look at the
Okay.
likes of Cristiano and Van Dijk, you see how they play. They make mistakes. They're not perfect. Like
Yeah.
Solomon said, nobody is perfect. So you learn from each and everyone's mistake to make a better you. For me, that's what mentorship is. Like, I can boldly say that Cristiano Ronaldo is my mentor. I can boldly say that Van Dijk is my mentor because I follow them up. I learn from their
Mm,
mistakes. I
mm.
study everything about them, and I watch their games. I create time to watch their games. So basically, that's all
Wow.
about to me about mentorship. Thank you, Clem.
So thank you so much, Dimeji. That means you should learn to go behind the scenes of the life of people you want to be like and learn what pertains to how you can improve yourself. That's how I just understood what you said. So P Dave,
Yes.
new beginning and final words from you. How would you tell somebody to come into a place where the person can begin afresh, start anew, and become a better person?
Okay. Thank you again, Busayo. Thank you, everyone. I think, while I answer the question of the mentorship, I came from the angle of the producer from the factory.
Mm,
We deal with machines here. So videos might not just, you might not even have that answer you're looking for. That question you've been asking you might not have the answer
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube video. So there are people who are already doing it. You still, I agree totally with the ones of books, read books and all of that. But when you deal with machines, we're not dealing with human beings now.
okay.
You
Yeah,
might need to
definitely.
ask questions from operators
Definitely.
and all of that. Yeah. So for new beginning, I agree with what the two other speakers have said totally. I think the first thing is the realization that I need to be doing something different entirely from what I'm doing now. And so the moment you realize, uh, you might need to go on like a retreat to really understand to an extent or to a very great extent what do I need to be doing differently? How do I go about it? What do I need? And by this retreat, from my Christian angle, you might need to ask God questions. What have I done that I shouldn't have done? What do I need to do now? How do I do it? You know? So a new beginning, the truth is you can recreate. That's my belief. I realized in 2013 that, okay, like you said at the beginning, I was supposed to, okay, so 2013, I was supposed to get job with NNPC. In fact, I was almost uh, Kaduna KRPC, that's Kaduna Refining Company. I was supposed to get job there. I didn't get. So I was waiting. I realized that, hey, I don't have time. I can't wait for forever, So I started, and as a chemical engineer with my background, I
Forever.
realized that something has to happen. Nobody is going to no food again. You have to just, you know, fend for yourself in a way. So I started to produce
Put yourself out
liquid
there.
soap.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I started producing liquid soap. I went out, looked
Mm.
for customers, gave them samples, did everything I could just to, get customers and all of that. And got so kind, I got quite a number of them in the city of Abuja. So but it came starting that production came from a realization that, hey, this KRPC job is not coming, DPR is not forthcoming. I need to do something,
Mm.
and it has to be now. So I looked inwards, like, okay, what are my basic skill sets? What are the skills I already have? What can I build on? So, and now we are producing clothes, we are producing shoes. Uh, for me, I think that's in itself is a new beginning. So to someone
Yes.
out there
Yes.
who is listening, you
Mm.
can start now. It's not too late for you to begin now.
Yes.
What you need is a realize. Once you realize that you need to be doing something different,
Differently.
you might see the truth is you won't have all the resources. Talking from a
Mm,
productionist angle now, you won't have all the resources, but start somehow. I will tell you that
With what you
producing the
have.
liquid soap, I didn't have even the bucket I used. It wasn't mine, but I just had to start. I just have to start like, okay, I must just start something,
mm,
you know. So start with what you have. You have enough. You are thinking I don't have enough. But if you sit yourself down and take stock of what you have now, I can bet that you have more than enough. So start with
mm-hmm.
what you have. And the truth is, I remember this very, very well. One of the words God spoke to me while on campus, He said, never despise the days of little beginning. The days of your
Wow.
little beginning, don't despise it. Don't say, who am I? Who am I in this town? Nobody will buy from me, nobody will do this, nobody, all those things. You are too concerned with people. Why you should be concerned about what God has for you. You should be preoccupied with God's um, mind concerning you. So um, let me stop here because I have to join another meeting now. The meeting is going on. I have to join, please. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm so
Okay.
So
blessed to be part of this.
much. With that, we have come to the end of the Usherpreneur Summit. It has been 2 days with amazing people. And I call them pathfinders because these are people that have started with little or nothing and have been able to grow with what they have and they are where they are today. And I say this for all of you, it would only get better and it can only grow bigger. I would like to also say this that I saw and I want to read to everyone. It says to live your own destiny imperfectly. It is better to live your own destiny imperfectly than to live an imitation of somebody else's life with perfection. So with that, I want to say thank you, Yene. Thank you, Dimeji. Thank you,
Welcome.
Dave. Thank you, Solomon, and to everybody. I can see people are live on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. To everybody that sent their love and their questions, we are really deeply grateful. And it is my heartfelt desire that you take these words that you have heard and you run with it. You don't just listen alone, but you run with it. Everybody that is on this panel, their Instagram handle is showing live on this call. You can follow them on Instagram. And in case you have questions, either you are watching the replay or you are watching us live, you can drop the questions here. You can also follow at their handles for Yene, that's Yene Damtwe. You can also follow our business handle at Aesthetic Salon. For Oladimeji is Oladimeji Ojo on Instagram. For Solomon is Solomon Ayodele on Instagram. And for David is David Adeyemi and at Bidana NG. And for me, it's Clement Abusayo. Please, you can drop your questions. When you see them, we will surely respond to them. I want to say thank you for the honor. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with us. We do not take it for granted. Thank you to everybody that has listened. I hope you've learned something and that you put it to use. From my end here is have a good day and become everything you can be because your best years are ahead. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.